How's it going, everyone? Got some exciting PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 game updates for you guys in this video. Dead Stranding 2 is supposedly in negotiations now. Who is that coming from? Well, it's coming from lead cast member Norman Reedus. We'll talk about that. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut Update 2.07 is out now. Fixes some issues there. We also have an update on a big demo coming to the PlayStation 4, and Dead Space is getting an update tomorrow. That is the Dead Space reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it, by Motive Studio. We'll talk that at the end of this video. But interestingly enough, speaking with the Brazilian partner site of IGN, Norman Reedus, who portrays Death Stranding protagonist, noted this: "I think we're doing a second Death Stranding. The game is in negotiations now, so yay." Wow, that came out of kind of nowhere, but Death Stranding 1 did seemingly do pretty well. It was released as a PS4 exclusive, sold pretty well over there, then it was released on PC, seemingly did pretty well over there, and then it will be released as a Director's Cut Edition pretty soon on PlayStation 5 as well, which will include some additional content, and of course it will be upgraded for PlayStation 5, but Death Stranding was a relatively controversial game, but at the same time, I think more people liked it than disliked it, and it definitely was one of those games. What I've always been saying about it is I feel like we need games like this that, yes, they are taking risks, and risks are not always going to pan out really well. I know that's the, cool thing to think about, that, oh, they're trying something innovative, that means that's automatically going to be a slam dunk. No, you kind of have to fall on your face a little bit to ultimately get to where you want to go to, and Death Stranding, I think, did a lot of that. Not to say it kept falling on its face or anything like that, but I thought it was one of those games that pushed gaming as a medium forward. And maybe that's even taking it a little bit too far, but I thought there was a lot of interesting design choices with that game, and I know a lot of people will oversimplify what Death Stranding is to calling it Mailman Simulator or something like that, but I really enjoyed the game, and I always recommend people to play it, especially because now you can get it pretty cheap, and I love a Death Stranding 2. Now, I'm always going to be kind of a Death Stranding nut hugger just because Norman Reedus is one of my favorite actors. I love me some Daryl from The Walking Dead. I just think the dude is incredibly talented, so from that standpoint, I was already, I was coming into the game a little bit biased, but nevertheless, Death Stranding 2, I think, could offer a lot to like. At this stage of the game, though, I imagine this is far, far away, and especially if the game is in negotiations now, I don't think we're going to see it for a long, long time, but definitely something to be excited about, in my opinion. And if you haven't, check out Death Stranding with the Director's Cut when that does drop on PlayStation 5, if you have a PS5. Next up, Sucker Punch Productions has rolled out the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut Update 2.07. We've got some patch notes for that as well, including some bug fixes and things of that nature. Specifically, restoring some new Game Plus content for players that lost access to it, address an issue where replayed missions would not grant the proper rewards until the game was reloaded, address an issue where some supply boxes could be restocked upon checkpoint reload, address an issue where giving the hut builder supplies then skipping the cutscene would still take the supplies but not complete the objective, address an issue where players were not able to join in progress Legend survival matches via matchmaking, reduce the length of haptic feedback when fast traveling, address some issues related to activity cards, addressed an issue with Legends leaderboards visibility, and various UI improvements, bugs, and crash fixes. So a lot of under the hood fixes, a lot of fixes that maybe are not going to be abundantly apparent to you right out the gate, but still quality of life improvements for a game like this is definitely much appreciated. If you have yet to check out Ghost of Tsushima, highly recommend you check this game out too, because it's absolutely tremendous. Actually, just picked up a PlayStation 5 for one of my boys, and this was the first game he actually picked up. Thankfully, I got the PS5 at retail. Not too difficult to get a PS5 at retail these days if you look, but I'm probably a little bit better connected than most people, so yeah, it's not as easy as walking into a store and picking it up right away, but it seems like, I have the same level of connections I had 6 to 9 months ago, and I'll tell you guys, for my level of connections, it's a lot easier now than it was, let's say, in November, December, when it was damn near impossible. But nevertheless, for Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, I know $70 might be a steep price to pay, but I would highly recommend you to check out the game at some point if it does go on sale. The base Ghost of Tsushima game was going on sale, so the game was like, I believe $30 it was $30 at Best Buy. So if you ended up buying that and then buying the Director's Cut update, you could have gotten the PS5 version for $60, which I know is still a premium price to pay, but a little bit better than paying $70. But nevertheless, I think the game is at such a high quality and the expansion is quite good. Thought it was well worth it. Nevertheless, let's move on from that. The PSN Releases Twitter account did note the game lost Judgement with ID CUSA 29955 has been added to the PS4 Japanese PSN. Now, this is noted to be a potential demo for the game, which would be great. I mean, this is a game that I think if you played Judgement, the original, you're already sold on the game and you're going to pick it up. However, if you're on the fence and you want to buy it after playing the demo and you want to try it out with a demo release, that is something to consider as well. I would recommend you to just play the first Judgement before you jump into Lost Judgment. I'm sure you'll be able to jump into Lost Judgment just fine without having complete understanding of the Judgment story arc, but that game was so good that, like, why not just go and play it? But nevertheless, if you're looking forward to a demo, that may be coming your way in the near future. Lastly, I do want to note the Dead Space Twitter account did note, quote, "The passionate team at Motive Studio are bringing you in for a very early look at the development of Dead Space. Tune into our stream tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for a developer live stream." Now, doubt that this is going to have a lot of gameplay. What I think this is going to be is a lot of interviews, maybe some technical stuff here and there, but I doubt we're going to get an in-depth look on gameplay or anything like that. I just don't think it's the time for that, and I don't think the time for a Dead Space gameplay reveal is going to be in a thrown-together live stream the day of, announced the day before the live stream actually happens. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to wait for a bigger event just because this is a hotly anticipated game. You know, I don't think this game's going to be out for a long time. I think this is where, like, some people get duped when it comes to things like this. When we see a CG trailer and then people think the game is going to come out in the next year or so, I don't think this game is going to be out in the next year or so. At the best case scenario, I see late 2022. If you ask me, probably not till 2023, and you know, a lot of you guys might think, oh, that's obvious, we barely saw anything of the game. You'd be surprised with how many people think that just because you see a trailer of the game has to be, you know, a year or 16 months away. I mean, I go back to this over and over again, but when The Elder Scrolls 6 got announced, I had texts that night of people telling me, oh my god, this game is gonna be out next year, and like, it is what it is. Like, I just wouldn't get too excited over a game just based on a CG trailer. Absolutely excited for Dead Space. It's so great to see this franchise back. Take all the time they need because I want to see this franchise come back in a great form, and I'm excited for this development stream because, hey, that'll give us some insight into, guess what, the development of the game, and I do think that's going to give us, you know, at least a few nuggets of information to go off of, and I think Motive Studio is low-key a very talented studio that can develop into one of the ace cards for EA going forward, because Star Wars Squadrons was relatively good for a game that didn't have an obscene amount of buzz surrounding it. It was a pretty solid game, and for them to sit down and do a big budget AAA game, and for them to be trusted with the Dead Space IP, because this is inherently going to have a high level of buzz, I imagine EA has quite a bit of faith in them. But that's going to wrap up this one. Again, Death Stranding 2 is reportedly in negotiations. I don't think I even have to say reportedly. I mean, Norman Reedus said it himself. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut Update 2.07 out now. Lost Judgment may be getting a demo, and Dead Space will be having a developer live stream coming tomorrow. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.